The Witcher 3's next-gen update made a ton of unannounced changes to the game's combat. The vast majority were not advertised and weren't even in the update's patch notes. Some of the changes come from a full combat rework mod that was partially integrated into the update, while others were done by CDPR themselves. What I specifically want to cover today though, because I haven't seen anyone else touch on this, is what this update did to the craftable Witcher armor. All 6 sets, so Cat, Bear, Griffin, Wolf, Manticore, and Viper, have been nerfed. What's more is that 2 of them have also been reworked with completely different abilities and perks for using the full set. Before I get into all of those changes though, I do want to take a quick second to thank the sponsor for today's video, Surfshark VPN. If you've been thinking about finally protecting your information while browsing online, well, today is your golden opportunity if you've been waiting for an unbeatable price. Surfshark's comprehensive data encryption and strict no-log policy is guaranteed to keep you untraceable and anonymous. And with over 3,200 available servers across the globe, you can easily connect just about anywhere, anytime. Today, by using my code NEON, you can grab yourself 85% off a Surfshark subscription, which works out to just $205 a month, and on top of that discount, you'll also be given 3 free months as a bonus, which takes the monthly price down to just $197. Did I mention that Surfshark is one of the only VPNs with an unlimited device policy? With just 1 subscription, you and however many friends or family members you want can all enjoy a more secure online experience. The link to Surfshark's limited time deal is in the description, and be sure to use my code NEON to get yourself an additional 3 months for free, which also helps the channel while saving you money. Thanks again to Surfshark, and with that said, let's get to the Witcher armor changes and start with how all 6 were nerfed, more or less in the same way for each of them. First, I need to point out that all Witcher armor at any upgrade level has a bonus damage resistance to monsters. So on top of the damage the armor's baseline stats protect you from, they also further reduce incoming damage from any monster type. With this update though, every single one of those resistance stats have been nerfed pretty substantially. For example, before the update, a full set of Grandmaster Bear armor, so fully upgraded, would grant you a bonus of 74% damage reduction from monsters. After the update, this resistance is down to 50%. The Cat School gear, which never offered nearly the protection of Bear because of its other benefits, has had its resistance toned down from 35% to 28%. In some cases, other monster-specific resistances were also nerfed. Like the Cat School gear always had an added bonus of reducing damage from elementals. Before the update, the fully upgraded armor would reduce elemental damage by 48%, now it's down to 38%. There's more examples with the other sets, and the nerfs apply to all upgrade levels, just with different numbers, but the point is, across the board, all 6 sets of Witcher gear have been nerfed. Now, why was this done? Well, it's a bit strange, as these nerfs affect every single Witcher gear build you could go for, but the sole purpose of them was to kill a very specific and broken strategy. The main culprit is the Protective Coating perk, which has also been nerfed itself. The main thing this perk does is reduce all incoming damage from whatever enemy type matches your currently equipped blade oil. So if you have Necrophage oil on your blade, not only will you be dealing more damage to that enemy type, the perk gives you extra protection against them as well. Before the update, that resistance maxed out at 25%, now it's down to 15%. You might say that's because perk upgrades have been changed in general. Instead of having 5 tiers, perks now have 3, but in most cases the max upgrade stat wasn't changed. It's just that the jump from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 is bigger now. By the way, if you've noticed that you randomly have a bunch of free skill points in an old save after the update, that's why. The perks that could be upgraded to a 5th level have been streamlined down to 3. Anyway, with Protective Coating specifically, the max stat was toned down for a reason we're about to get to. Before that though, it's also worth mentioning that the other benefit of this perk was to increase potion duration by 25%. That has also been reduced to 15, although now you get a slight increase in bomb damage, so there is something to make up for that nerf. It is still a good perk, but it can no longer be used like it once was. Getting to that and the broken strategy part of this, before the update, if you combined the 25% resistance from Protective Coating with the 74% damage reduction from a full set of upgraded Bear armor, well, I think you guys can do the math. There were certain builds, especially with the Viper and Bear gear, that rendered you effectively unkillable in combat, even on Death March. Now the build is just strong instead of ridiculously strong. On your screen right now, I'm showing off how little damage I take post-update on Death March with just Bear armor and Protective Coating against similarly leveled enemies. There's nothing else going on in this clip, and I'm obviously not even attempting to avoid hits. An important thing to stress before I move on to the reworked sets is that again, these nerfs don't just affect the broken Protective Coating build. The changes were made to get rid of a busted strategy, but the end result is that all Witcher gear is nerfed whenever you're using it, regardless of how good or bad the rest of your build is. Don't get me wrong, Witcher sets are still the best armor in the game, there's really no question, but it's worth noting that the resistances they offer aren't quite what they once were, and that applies to every set, obviously excluding the new one because you can't nerf something that wasn't in the game before the update. Okay, let's move on to the reworked Witcher gear. The Wolven set has been completely redone, at least in terms of set bonuses, while the Manticore gear has taken on some new abilities and lost others. For the Wolf armor, both of these set perks you may be used to are now gone. Just to clarify, Witcher gear at the Grandmaster level all have the added benefit of special abilities when using 3 and then 6 pieces of the armor, 1 bonus for each requirement. Before the update, for Wolven gear you could apply 3 oils to your sword at one time and also could throw bombs immediately without the usual delay. Now both of those upgrades have been moved elsewhere. The 3 oil at a time mechanic is now worked into the perk Fixative. Before the update, all fully upgraded Fixative did was make it so blade oils didn't wear off, plus it had a bomb damage bonus. Now it also has what was previously the Wolf School gear benefit of allowing you to apply 3 oils at a time. The perk also had its bomb damage bonus reduced down to 15% from 25%, but similar to what happened to Protective Coating, you get the new benefit of potions lasting 15% longer as a trade-off. I've wondered if I should also make a video breaking down what was done to perks, because so many of them that aren't relevant to the Witcher gear changes have also been overhauled. Anyway, the other Wolf School gear benefit, the one that allowed you to throw bombs without delay, has also been shifted to another part of the game, in this case to another armor set that we'll be talking about. Before that though, we have to cover what has replaced the original Wolven set bonuses. Grandmaster Wolf School gear is now centered around the bleed mechanic. The 3-piece set bonus increases your sword damage for every active bleeding effect. It's an increase of 1% per piece of Wolf School gear equipped. So if you have the full set, 6 pieces, and 3 enemies are bleeding, your sword damage will temporarily increase by 18%. The set bonus for all 6 pieces works hand in hand with this mechanic, as what it does is increase how many instances of bleed you can apply to a single enemy. It's pretty simple, the more adrenaline points you have, the more bleed you can affect one enemy with. If you don't know, adrenaline is this little meter on your HUD. It confuses a lot of people, but really it's fairly simple. You successfully hit enemies or parry their attacks, and you gain adrenaline. If you get hit, you lose it. The more adrenaline you have, the higher your damage, and you'll be able to use special abilities. There's a bit more to it, but for the purpose of this video, that's what you need to know. The way the armor perk works is similarly simple. The adrenaline meter has 3 sections, so if that's filled up, you can apply 3 instances of bleed to a single enemy. So let's say you're fighting something with a lot of health like a troll with a full adrenaline meter. If you hit it 3 times and cause bleed with each, your sword damage will increase by 18%. If you're fighting 2 trolls and somehow manage to apply 3 instances of bleed to both, your damage will temporarily increase by 36%. It's an easy set bonus to understand, but is it effective and good? Well, I will say that I tried a somewhat optimized bleed build with the right perks and sword upgrades, and it's about what I expected. The bleed deals a lot of damage for what it is, it can be applied very consistently with the right setup, but it's only as effective as you could expect a bleed build to be. While getting gameplay in order to show off what the build was doing, it more or less meant I would just stop attacking the enemy to watch him or it bleed out. If I hadn't been doing that, in most cases the bleed would have made no difference in terms of how many hits it took to take an enemy down, because by the time you have Grandmaster gear, you're dealing massive damage even with a build not built around your sword. Admittedly, bleed is pretty satisfying against big enemies that only give you rare opportunities to get a hit in, but even there, you're going to be killing the enemy faster if you just have a cat school build maxing out fast attacks, or a bear school build built around heavy attacks. Does that matter in a game like The Witcher 3? Well, honestly, not really. It's a fun set and it gives the armor some identity. Throwing bombs quickly and applying 3 oils at once are nice perks, but we're both actually very underwhelming compared to what the other Grandmaster sets give you, and I think these bleed-centric perks are at least a move in the right direction. Anyway, speaking of throwing bombs quickly, that perk was moved to the Manticore set. Nothing was taken away in this case, it was just added to the existing 3-piece bonus of your bombs being able to deal out critical hits. Honestly, this one makes perfect sense and is a great change. If you're gonna have a set emphasize bombs, which need all the help they can get, you better have all the upgrades available in one place. The Manticore set did get a bonus nerf in addition to what we discussed earlier, as the toxicity bonus has been cut almost in half, from 35 all the way down to 20. Most of you know this, but toxicity is what determines how many potions and decoctions you can use. A 15-point nerf isn't much in a full alchemy build, but for the armor itself, it's a pretty substantial change. Well guys, that does it for today's video. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, and if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. Also, please let me know if this was helpful and whether you'd like to see 1 or 2 other videos on the rest of the combat changes. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.